Good morning students. Today we will study about reproduction in plants. This chapter has been divided into two categories. In first portion, asexual reproduction is being shown, and then sexual reproduction in plants has been shown. Okay. So now first of all start with the reproduction term. Reproduction is a very important life activity or a life process out of which the parent they give birth to the new individual or to their offspring. So this is a biological process and very important process so that life can continue. Now further reproduction can be divided into two parts, that is sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. In this chapter we will study about plants. Now as I told you, there are two types of reproduction, sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, two parents take part and give birth to a new individual. So new individual will be the combination of two parents, and in case of asexual reproduction, which is found in comparatively simple organism, one parent only give birth to the new individual. So the new individual is considered to be the exact copy of the parent with some variations or some changes. Now let's get started and study about the asexual reproduction in plants. Before that, you must be aware or you must be knowing about the fact of reproductive and the vegetative parts of the plant. If you see a plant, so all the parts of the plant except flower, all other parts of the plant are called vegetative parts. So what will be the vegetative parts? Like stem, root, leaves, all these parts are vegetative parts, and reproductive part will be the flower. Flower is said to be the reproductive part or the sexual part of the plant. Through flower, the plant take part in sexual reproduction, because in 6th class you have already studied the parts of the flower where you have come across the male reproductive part, that is stamen, and the female reproductive part, that is pistil. So flower, through flower the plant will take part in sexual reproduction, and rest all other parts of the plant are called vegetative parts. Now moving ahead, what is first will be the asexual reproduction. Under that we will study about vegetative propagation. So as I told you, what are vegetative parts? All parts other than flower or except flower are called vegetative parts, and if we are able to get a new plant without flower or without sexual reproduction, without the formation of the seeds, that reproduction is called vegetative propagation. Propagation means reproduction only. Okay. So this is vegetative propagation. So under this category we have got cutting. Cutting is termed to be a vegetative propagation. Why? Because in cutting, we take one portion of the stem, but the thing to remember is that portion of the stem should have a node, N-O-D-E, node. What is node? Node is a place from where either the leaves or the branches they arise. So that node should be there so that the plant can propagate. If you bury that stem cutting under the soil, through that node after few days the leaves can sprout. You can see in this given picture, this is the node. Node is a place on the stem on which the leaves, the branches or the flowers they arise, and the distance between two nodes, for example this is one node and another node, so distance between two node will be internode. This you have studied in class 6th, internode. So the point to be taken into consideration is whenever you take cutting, that cutting or that portion of the stem should have one or at least two nodes, so that when you bury it under the soil, there will be chances that it will sprout up properly, and it will get all the favorable conditions. Now next is, what are the examples of cutting? Cutting, you are well aware, you get cutting or you get plant out of cutting, that is rose. Second is money plant, even sugar cane. So all these are the examples of the plants where you can get a new plant out of those portions of the stem. Now next will be your, in case of potato, you must have seen some eyes like structure in potato. Here you can see in the given picture, and if you cut this portion of the eye, this portion, and if you sow it inside the soil, and you just sprinkle some water over it, after few days, because that eye or that portion which will have the vegetative part, it will sprout as a new plant. So this is again vegetative propagation, where from the part of the plant other than flower, we have not used the flower. Flower will be used in sexual reproduction, and it will give rise to seeds, and then we will sow the seed, then we will get the flower. So that is a time consuming process, but here we are using the other parts of the plant to get a new plant. Same vegetative propagation, whatever we have done in case of potato, we can use in the case of ginger also, turmeric also. There are n number of examples. So here it is given ginger and turmeric. Likewise, you can also grow ginger and turmeric. So we have not used seeds because it is vegetative propagation. Now next example of vegetative propagation is bryophyllum. You must have seen bryophyllum. It is commonly called sprout leaf plant. It has birds in the margin. This will be clear with this diagram. You can see in this diagram, this is a bryophyllum leaf. It has got wavy margin like this, and at the margin it has got some birds. As soon as these birds or the leaf fall on the moist ground, it grows into a new plant. So small plantlets are there, birds grow into plantlets, and when they get favorable condition like moist soil, they will sprout as a new plant. That is why it is called leaf sprout plant, because out of leaf we can get a new plant. So again it is the example of, good example of vegetative propagation. Now Bujo wants to know if there is any advantage of vegetative propagation. So surely there are n number of examples or advantages of vegetative propagation. Plants produced by vegetative propagation take less time to grow, and they bear flowers and fruits earlier than those produced from seed. So if we wait for sexual reproduction, seed formation, so it is a long process. But in case of vegetative propagation, we do not have to wait for the seed. So the plants which grow by this process of vegetative propagation, they grow faster. So we can say this is a faster means of reproduction, and the new plant, whatever we get, for example, out of this bryophyllum, the new plant, the new bryophyllum we will get, that will be the exact copy of the parent bryophyllum. Why? Because only one individual was involved, only one parent was involved, and out of that parent we have got the new offspring or the plant. That is why generally out of asexual reproduction we say that we get exact, almost exact copies of the parent, which is not possible in case of sexual reproduction where two parents are involved. So the new plant will be the, or the new offspring will be the combination of those two parents. Okay. So here we get the exact copy. This is a faster process. So there are many advantages related to vegetative propagation. Now next, asexual reproduction will be budding. Budding you are well aware of. Budding is found in yeast. Yeast is a fungus. Yeast is a fungus. Although all other fungus, they are multicellular, but yeast is the only unicellular fungus, only unicellular fungus. So you can see in this figure 12.5 where yeast is shown. Now you can see it develops a small bud, or you can say the outgrowth. Bud is called outgrowth. After some days the nucleus divides into two, because the new bud must have its own nucleus, because it will act as a daughter cell. It will get detached from the parent body after few days, and it will grow as a parent itself. So here sometimes it happens, although in most of the time this bud detaches and falls on the ground and it grows as a new individual. But sometimes it happens that the previous bud does not fall off and the new bud grows over the previous bud, and in this way we get a chain of buds. You can see in the figure 12.5, here we get a chain of buds. So this is the condition of, or this is the example of budding. Okay, so once these bud, they will fall off from the parent body and they will grow as a new individual, and in next generation they will act as a parent. So this is called budding. This process is called budding. So we can define budding as it's a process in which the parent body grows a small outgrowth or a bud, then the nucleus divides and then it goes to the bud, and the bud detaches from the parents, falls off on the ground and grows as a new individual when it gets the favorable condition. It should get the favorable condition and it grows as a new individual. Now you can see a bud in lab also by doing small activity, where what you have to do is you need to have yeast from the bakers or the bakery or the chemist shop, yeast. So from the chemist shop or the bakery you can get the yeast. Now what you have to do, you have to take a beaker and a lukewarm water, 3/4 of the lukewarm water, neither very cold nor very hot. So lukewarm water you want, warm water you want. Then you put a pinch of yeast into it, a pinch of sugar into it. Why you have added sugar? Because sugar is the food for the yeast. Sugar will be the food for the yeast, and warm water is the favorable condition in which the yeast grow. They need warmth. Okay, so warm water will be there, or the lukewarm water will be there. So you need warm water where you have put the yeast and the sugar, they will grow here. And what you need a dropper, and with the help of a dropper you have to put one drop of such solution on a slide, and then you have to watch it under the microscope, and you will be amazed to see the buds, and in some of the yeast you will be amazed to see the chains of the bud. So this will be the process of budding in yeast. Now next is fragmentation. Fragmentation is a process which is found in algae called Spirogyra. Spirogyra is called a pond silk, because you might have seen slimy. Slimy means sticky green patches in the pond. So that is none other than our algae called Spirogyra. It is called Spirogyra because of its spiral chloroplast. You can see its chloroplast closely. You can see the chloroplast is spiral like this. So its name is because of its spiral chloroplast, and it's obvious if it has got the chloroplast, it can perform the photosynthesis process also, and it is algae only, so it will perform photosynthesis. Now how it reproduces? Basically because it lives in pond water, because of water current, somehow if its body breaks off into pieces, every piece will grow into a new individually. Okay, so every piece will grow into a new individual. So this is in the case of Spirogyra. So this process where the body of the organism breaks off into pieces and every piece grows into a new individual, this process of asexual reproduction is called fragmentation. All the reproduction, types of reproduction like vegetative propagation, budding, fragmentation, all these are asexual reproduction till now we have discussed, because only one parent was involved. Okay, and next will be the spore formation, which is again found in fungus. Spore formation, you must have seen the bread mold. It is commonly called bread mold. Bread mold will be the example of spore formation, or you can say rhizopus. So spore formation is found in a fungus called rhizopus, or commonly called bread mold. If you keep one piece of bread You just sprinkle some water over it, keep it in a dark place. So after few days you will found some cottony white patches over the bread, and if you take this and make a slide out of it, or you can simply watch it under the hand lens, so you will find such structures which is shown here in figure 12.7, reproduction through spore formation. Here you can find such thread like structures called hypha, and these ball like structure called sporangium. Inside these sporangium many spores are present. The moment these sporangium they mature, they burst and they release spores into the atmosphere. Now whenever these spores which are released into the atmosphere, whenever they will get the conducive or the favorable condition, friendly conditions, they will fall on the, for what will be the friendly condition for them? Basically the food, which is the bread or any food. It can be wood, it can be some cloth piece, anything. So food plus some moisture. Whenever these spore they will get food plus moisture, they will start growing over it. So spores, they are basically, they do have some tough coat over them, so that's why they remain there in the atmosphere unless or until they get the okay condition or the favorable and friendly condition. Thank you very much. Today we have discussed asexual reproduction. Revise well and read this portion from the book. Thank you.